Hi, welcome to the small shed. This Saturday the work's totally self-inflicted. I'll explain in a minute. Now, as one of the projects that's ongoing in the background, I've got to knock about and alter an IKEA wardrobe and put in my wife's workroom where she does her sewing. And every time I go in there I walk past the ironing board, and it's getting to look sorrier and sorrier as the weeks go by. The steam iron sits in a holder at the end of the ironing board, and the steam has obviously over the last few years got into the paintwork, bubbled it up from underneath, and the thing is just totally manky at the moment. So I thought while she's out I'd go and take it off, strip it down, clean it up, do what I can and repaint it, hopefully get it back before she comes home, and we'll see how long it takes her to notice. So I'll just go and start by stripping the thing off, and we'll take it outside and have a look and see what we can do with it. It's an ideal day for spraying. It's warm, it's still, it's bright, so the paint should dry quickly. I've got some paint somewhere. Got some high temperature paint that should do the job. I'll probably prime it first, but then we'll give it a coat of this. This is exceptional thermal stability up to 600 degrees, so that should be fine for a steam iron. We'll see how we get on with it anyway. Let's go and take it off. It looks fairly easy to be able to take these off. They're not screwed. I thought they'd be screwed on, but there's actually just a hinge, a spring clip on here that pulls out on the side. Probably easier to do it the right way up than upside down, but never mind. That'll take off. We can get this outside in the sunshine, start and have a look and see what we can do with it. So first task is to take off these rubber, neoprene, I don't know what, pads which the iron rests on. They're just a push fit through the holes. So hopefully with a bit of persuasion they can just be popped out while we do the paint work, and then we'll put them back in when we've finished. Really, ideally these should be, the whole thing should be cleaned down and then dipped in a solution that converts the rust to metal and effectively seals the surface up, but A, I haven't got any, B, it would need a fairly large container to put it in, and C, it's not really worth it. This is something that won't take that long to do, I don't think. It's been around for many years so far, and I'm hoping that this repair will at least last me 5 or 6 years, by which time we'll probably be needing a new one anyway. It is only fairly light surface rust, so I'm going to have a go with the little Dremel with an extended shaft and some little wire brushes. What I've found on that is it is vital to have eye protection on, as well as dust, because the little wire brush strands come off and fly everywhere, and the last thing you want to do is lose an eye just to something silly like this. So I'm going to do it outside because it's cleaner and easier to do it outside. There's more light outside, and we'll see how we get on with just wire brushing all the old metal off, and then I'll get a flat wheel and rub it down just to see how much paint we can get off, see how we get on out there. So that's got all the flaking paint off. It's got it back to bare metal pretty much over all of it. You can see here that the pitting, there is still a bit of, well, it's residual rust, I suppose, at the end of the day in there. That's why it could do with one of these converters that you soak it in that turns that rust into a compound that doesn't then cause any further problems later on. But this is a quick and cheerful job, so I'm just going to give this an etch prime now, then a filler primer just to fill some of the low spots, and then we'll give it a coat of the silver heat paint, and hopefully that will finish it off then. That's the trio of paint I'm going to use. I've got an etch primer there that gives I think it's an acid in the paint itself that just bites in slightly into the metal and helps grab onto it, so that'll help fix it a bit. Zinc primer on top of that, which it says is rust resistant, but really I think, as I mentioned earlier, it really needs a chemical treatment, but this will give us a good prime. Put a reasonably thick coat of that on and rub it back a couple of times just to get most of the voids filled, the low spots, and then I'll use the heat resistant paint on top as a seal. Hopefully that should get us back for a decent finish for the next year or two anyway. Next job is to deal with the rubber pieces that are just a bit poorly, with a bit of rust staining on them. So I'm just going to run those under the tap with a little bit of fairy liquid that usually shifts most things like that. It's one of those things that's never normally seen, so it's hidden on the underneath, but still worthwhile tidying up all the same. It gets them back looking pretty much like new. That's it. Just dry those off now, ready to reuse. Now, thankfully the paint's dried relatively quickly, so all that's left is to just pop these back into the holes, the things that stop the heat getting through. It's not a perfect job, but it's an awful lot better than it was, and we can then take it back inside, clip it back on, and we'll see how long it takes for anyone to notice. Right, well that's another little job done that's been bugging me for ages. The only problem is now I've got to do the rest of the room, which should take considerably longer. Next week will be 1 year anniversary of the channel, and there'll be a small giveaway going on that one, so I look forward to seeing you then. Take care now, bye.